is going on, everyone? Welcome back to episode 11 of Drop the Mitts Hockey Podcast, brought to you in part by Primetime Productions. I am with my best buddy, Mikey Sullivan. Mikey, how you doing, buddy?
What's going on, Chris? It's an exciting time around the hockey, world. We got some extensions to talk about. The season's going to start up in about a month. Preseason's coming around the corner soon. Bruins just had captain's practice, so everywhere you look right now, hockey's back, and I can feel it inside my body. I'm just like I'm getting euphoric. I'm getting so happy. It's the best time of the year, and it's going to be an exciting season.
Yeah, man, dude, I'm so excited. All the videos from captain's practice. It's like,
yep.
Geez, dude, I'm so amped up for this year.
Well, dude, another thing that came out of captain's practice too was all the writers that were there, Ty Anderson, Joe Haggerty, Connor Ryan, they were all sharing photos, and you could see the new logo at center ice, the yellow bee with the black spokes, dude. God. Oh my God, it's gonna be so nice.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, no, it looked phenomenal. Sorry to get off tangent there, but gotta go check my trousers. No, dude, I'm so excited. It just like just the very minimal details that we're getting from captain's practice, just the drills that we're seeing, the players that we're seeing out there. Dude, I'm so excited, and we're getting so close. Like we're a little over a month away. There's so many like new details that are coming out, PTOs that are coming out. It's just so much is happening with this Bruins team. So excited, dude. And honestly, with this episode, there's a lot to get into.
There is.
So yeah, fire us up, buddy.
Dude, so I mean, we can start. You just mentioned PTOs. I think the Bruins have signed like 90% of the PTOs during this offseason, but you just saw them bring in Danton Heinen on a PTO. That's another great PTO signing by them, coupled with Alex Chason too. But for the Bruins, I feel like their bottom six isn't really as solidified as we think it is, or as we like to think it is. And Danton Heinen, I'm honestly, and I said this a couple weeks ago too on our podcast and other shows as well, but I was surprised that he didn't get picked up by anybody during free agency. Like he's a good player. I don't have the numbers off the top of my head, but I'm pretty sure he put somewhere around like 30 points last season. He's a reliable third line guy. I mean, he's really good on defense as well. He's not just an offensive guy. He plays a 200-foot game. And for all 32 teams to pass up on him, only to end up back in Don Sweeney's lap, kind of works out well for the team. Now, obviously, he's not signed to the organization yet. It's just a PTO. But for the Bruins to even have that option out in their back pocket and have him skating with the guys and with the team, then I think it's just all good news right there. It's a great option to have.
Yeah, dude, honestly, it's one of those signings like it's one of those like, what do we have to lose at this point? Like I mean, you look at a player like Danton Heinen, the 2022-23 season, played in 65 games, 8 goals, 14 assists for 22 points. Did finish at a -5. But again, dude, like we look at this lineup, there's so many goddamn question marks. Like, we all, especially in prior episodes of, Drop the Mitts, something's brewing. I think this is a guy that can definitely solidify himself in the bottom 6 of this lineup.
Yep.
And like I said, he's had so much success on this Bruins team. What is there not to like about this guy? And you know what? I've had questions asked to me. Well, is this gonna take away from younger guys? Getting an opportunity in this lineup, and I don't necessarily think that's the case. I don't think Danton Heinen is an everyday fucking bottom 6 forward. I don't think that's the case. I think there's going to be plenty of opportunity for, plenty of players. We talk about, Merkulov, we talk about McLaughlin, we talk about the Kuntars. I think there's plenty of opportunity for these guys to, make a case to have their, to solidify themselves in the bottom half of this lineup. I like this fucking PTO, dude. Along with Alex Chason's. What do they have to lose at this point?
Right.
That's my, my honest opinion on this whole fucking thing is, what the fuck do they have to lose at this point, dude?
Right.
We talk about Alex Chason, we talk about Danton Heinen. These are guys that can fucking play. They can play at the highest level at the NHL. And I think these are guys that are going to help this team and, help these younger guys kind of solidify their spots in this lineup. And I'm really a fan of these moves. I don't know what your thoughts are. I'd love to get them, though.
Yeah, dude. I mean, even there's some connections, too, with Heinen and Jim Montgomery. Danton Heinen played under Jim Montgomery at the University of Denver for 2 years, and he ended up producing 91 points in 81 games. So maybe there's a little something there with Heinen and Montgomery just knows how to use him a little bit better because, I mean, yes, it's college, but still 91 points in 81 games over 2 years is phenomenal. That's good hockey. So maybe Montgomery will be able to kind of connect with him and figure out a system that works well with his game and get him to, produce a little bit more and more consistently. But like you said, too, who knows if he's a mainstay? You got guys like the guys you mentioned, Merkulov, Lysell, Lauko even. You could throw in Alex Chason if he gets signed, AJ Greer. The bottom six, I don't feel like is it's going to be fluid. The bottom six is going to be fluid for at least the first 2 to 2.5 months of the season, I think. And then you'll start to get a clear picture of that bottom six.
Yeah. You, like you said, dude, I think what this does is it adds a little bit more competition to this bottom six. I think we can kind of solidify the top six of this lineup. But again, this is huge, dude. Like, I think it adds a little bit more competition to the bottom six. It's gonna light a little bit of fucking fire under these boys' Heine's ass. And again, dude, like, I love it for this team, dude. Like, it's gonna make these younger guys work a little bit harder. It's gonna make them work a little bit more. And again, I love the depth. Obviously, these guys that they're bringing in they're not top six forwards. They're not. Right. And you know what? Anyone who fucking says otherwise, they're fucking insane. And I think they're a little bit too hopeful. I love Heinen. I love Chason. But let's be real here. These guys are bottom six forwards. That's where they thrive. And I think these are guys that are, that could really be helpful on the bottom six of this lineup. And, could you realistically have a guy like Heinen slide in on like a second line forward? Possibly. Is that where you want him? Probably not. If you're going to be a playoff team, probably not. But overall, I mean, what do you have to lose? And honestly, it's one of those things where I wanted to bring something else up to you. With all these PTOs, how interested would you be in bringing in a guy like Phil Kessel on a PTO? Do you think this is a guy that could help this Bruins team maybe on the top six? Do you think this is a realistic option for a team like the Bruins?
To be honest, before the Heinen PTO, I would have thought maybe there was a chance they were kind of discussing it and maybe pull the trigger on it. But I think now that you got Chase on with a PTO, you got Heinen with a PTO, you got guys like Lauko, Greer already here in the system, McLaughlin. I don't think that they'll entertain it, but I think it comes from the point of it being a fun scenario for the Bruins, almost like the same thing with Lucic, like all the all the speculation that Lucic was going to come back, a lot of people were just thinking like, oh, that's just like the fun thing to do. Like, there's no way he'd come back. And look, he's back. But with Kessel, I don't think if you bring him here, there's too many cooks in the kitchen. I think right now this is the team that's going to compete to have a spot in the opening night roster.
Yeah, no, and honestly, it's one of those things where like, is it one of those things that we're like completely reaching for, like kind of one of those like nostalgic things we're like hoping for, like, obviously right. Phil is like he's a legend. The Bruins, he was picked fairly high, but is it one of those things that we're like kind of just hoping for? But is it one of those things that's really going to help us? I don't necessarily think so. I think it's one of those things we just look at and we're like, well, it's kind of nostalgic to think about, like, hey, we had Phil back in the day. Like, will he actually help us? I think at the end of the day, like, no, I don't think so. I think, honestly, if I had to take my pick, like, whether we're talking like having Phil in the lineup or like a, one of those younger guys, I think I would take my pick with like, you know what? Give the younger guy, whether it's Merkulov, a McLaughlin, a Kuntar, give those guys the ice. I mean, I love everything Phil's done for the game and obviously his fucking Iron Man streak, but give these guys a chance to play.
Yeah, you gotta.
You have to. And at this point where the Bruins are at, it's like, what are you fucking playing for at that point?
Yeah, exactly, dude. But I mean, I'm with you on that too. It would be a fun idea and a fun scenario, but if you really want to compete and you want these guys to develop, I think you stay away from that. And I think that's why you see the Bruins as an organization kind of targeting these younger guys. They're not really going after any vets. Like, yeah, Lucic, yeah, Shattenkirk, but then you look around too. All these guys, Boqvist, Heinen, they're all younger guys outside of JVR too, but a lot of the signings we saw were around like the 24, 25, 26 age. And I think that's kind of what they're looking to do right now is sign people like that. But elsewhere around the league, we did see Buffalo Sabres defenseman Rasmus Dahlin sign an 8 years, $10.5 million AAV with Buffalo. He's already 5 seasons in with the Sabres. That time flies. That's crazy. I feel like he's only been here for maybe 2 or 3, but he's been here for 5. Never had a season less than 23 points, and that 23-point season came in a 56-game NHL schedule. But last year he put up 73 points in 78. He's got 233 career points in 355 games as a defenseman. And he's only had, actually, he's had 4 minus seasons, but last season he was a plus 12, and you got to consider the horrible Buffalo teams he was on during those seasons. But 8 years, 10.5 for Dahlin. What do you think?
Dude, I mean, to hear you say horrible Buffalo team, as big as a Sabres fan that you are, I'm kind of surprised to hear that. But dude, yeah, I love this deal. And honestly, Buffalo's, they're doing all the right things.
Yeah, they are.
They're doing all the right things to bring in these guys, to draft right, to solidify their team. I love this signing, dude. And honestly, with a signing like this, I put it into perspective with a guy like Charlie McAvoy.
Yes.
Always. Yep. And being a Bruins fan, I think it's just normal, to think about, kind of to just put it into perspective, because obviously McAvoy's our franchise defenseman.
Yeah, he's our guy.
Yeah, he's our guy. And with a guy like with a guy like Dahlin in Buffalo, he's their top guy. Obviously they got a guy like Owen Power, but let's be real here. I think if we're looking at all-around defensemen, I love Owen Power, don't get me wrong, but I think when push comes to shove, we're talking about Rasmus Dahlin as being the number 1 defenseman in Buffalo. And again, I'm going to say this again, not to take anything away from Owen Power being the number one defenseman there. I don't think he's the number one defenseman there. I think he's a very solid defenseman. I think he's going to play a pivotal role in that D-core. But I think Rasmus Dahlin is going to be the number one defenseman in that D-core. And reason being, I think Rasmus Dahlin is going to play a pivotal role both ends of the zone. He's going to play, obviously in defensive zone. He's going to play a huge role in the offensive zone. He's going to put up fucking huge numbers. He's going to put up great plus-minus numbers. Yep. And again, I'm going to reiterate this. I think Owen Power is going to put up solid numbers. I don't think he's going to put up the same numbers that Rasmus Dahlin does, because I think Rasmus Dahlin is going to put up solid numbers on the power play.
Yes. Yep.
And I think he's going to be the quarterback on on their power play, and say what you want. But again, I think they have a really, really solid D-core. We're talking Owen Power, Dahlin, and obviously I know people are going to be like, well, we chose Owen Power number one overall. He's going to be, if you really watch the game of hockey, I think Rasmus Dahlin he's going to be the quarterback on the power play. I think it's going to be pivotal on the penalty kill. I think he's going to be a solid two-way and a solid defender in his own zone. And that's not to say that Owen Power isn't going to be a solid defender.
Right.
I think they're really going to complement each other. I'm really excited about this team.
Yeah, dude. Like, the thing is, too, in the next couple of years, especially if they can find a way to keep all these guys under the cap, right? And they're probably in a couple of years going to have to lose one or two, but they're still so deep. I mean, just talking on the defensive end, Power, the duo of Power and Dahlin on the back end, that's scary. And I know they got Connor Clifton. Matthias Samuelsson is no joke. He's a big body back there, and he complements Dahlin well. But like you said too, Dahlin on the power play, especially quarterbacking it with guys down on the wing, guys like Alex Tuch and guys like Jeff Skinner, Peterka, Middlestat, Cousins. I mean, come on, he's gonna put up numbers, and getting him at 10.5 for 8 more years, especially when the salary cap is expected to jump, that is a great deal for Buffalo. They don't have to worry about losing him in free agency or any kind of contract talks during the season, anything like that. No distractions. They're geared up. They're ready to go. And the deal for Buffalo Sabres fans should be so happy. They should be so happy that they get to watch this guy for at least the next 8 years.
Yeah, dude, and you know what? It's one of those things that we look at, especially as NHL fans, Bruins fans. We look at this and we kind of look at this deal, and we look at this deal, especially from the lens of like a deal that was dealt, from Charlie McAvoy. So It's one of those things. It's like, holy shit, did we get a fucking steal? Like, I'm still looking at Charlie McAvoy as a top 5 defender. Do I think Rasmus Dahlin is necessarily there yet? I think he's within the top 10. Do I think he's Charlie McAvoy level? I don't think so. But I think this is a fucking great deal. Like, I don't think Bruins fans necessarily understand the magnitude that, like, how good of a deal that we got Charlie McAvoy for.
Yeah.
Especially as the cap starts to go up. I think this deal is going to look magnificent on fucking Don Sweeney. To get literally
top 5D in the league.
I'm looking for the words to describe him, and a top 5 defenseman in the NHL.
Bona fide stallion.
A bona fide stallion. And that's what
Jack Edwards.
That's what he is. I hate to say, I made my rankings earlier in the in the season, and I caught a lot of slack, leaving Roman Josi out. And that is not to say that Roman Josi is not a great defenseman. But I think when we stack up all these defensemen, we're talking about, the power play. We're talking about the penalty kill. We're talking about the all-around game. Charlie McAvoy is a top 5 defenseman in this league. And I think, you know what? People can fucking say what they want. He is, dude. He's a top 5 all-around defenseman in this league. And I will die by that sword. And it's just, I understand there's a lot of very good defensemen in this league. I understand that. But when you stack up the all-around, we're talking the all-around game, the defensive game, we're talking the offensive game, we're talking penalty kill, we're talking power play. The all-around game, Charlie McAvoy is a top 5 defenseman in the NHL. And I think with Rasmus Dahlin signing this deal, it's just super interesting to see, especially, with us being primarily Bruins fans. I think it's really interesting to see that we locked up a number 1 defenseman. I think just, oftentimes we kind of just roll by that. Like, we don't really think about, like, hey, we locked up a number 1 defense. Like, I think people don't really think about him being like a number 1 defenseman. And I think that might be numbers wise, maybe. Yeah. I think oftentimes the numbers of Charlie McAvoy aren't necessarily super sexy.
Yeah, it's because he never puts up astronomical offensive numbers. But the thing is, and we've had that conversation too when Carlson won the Norris. You don't necessarily need to do that, be putting up 65, 70 plus points as a defenseman every year to be considered a top 5, right? As long as you do all the things that you need to do in the defensive zone and you're good at it, and you can put up what he puts up, like 50 points a season, sign me up. That's a great defenseman. Best in the league. One of.
Yeah, dude, it makes you wonder, like, we're seeing these deals being signed, and honestly, being Bruins fans, we're looking at this and we're like, holy shit, did we just lock up like a fucking future Norris winner for fucking 9.5? Like, fucking sign me up, dude. Like, obviously I know with the cap going up, and we're gonna see a lot of, I'm not gonna say subpar defensemen, but I'm going to say defensemen that are maybe less like a tier below Charlie McAvoy.
Yeah.
I think we're going to see them being signed for a lot more on an annual value level. So I think it's one of those things that I think we're so, for me, I'm definitely thankful to have a guy like Charlie McAvoy, locked up on a deal that's definitely team friendly, dude. I think, again, for a guy like Chucky, he, there's so many things that he delivers on a day-to-day basis. Yeah, he doesn't fucking bring you the sexiest numbers. He doesn't give you, the Erik Karlsson numbers or, Victor Hedman, but dude, if we're talking all-around defenseman, I think, dude, he's one of the best.
Yeah. And I think you're going to see Rasmus Dahlin get thrown into that conversation too, more and more, especially now that the Sabres aren't just like a easy win. You're not walking in there and you're getting an easy win. You're going to be fighting the Sabres for 2 points every time you play them. But with Dahlin signing the extension, in came another extension today, and it was the Ottawa Senators signing Jake Sanderson to an 8-year deal worth $8.05 average annual value. What did I just say? Average annual value. Yeah. And there it is. And I want to get your thoughts on this because, I mean, Sanderson's played 1 year in the NHL, 77 games, 4 goals, 28 assists, 32 points. That's a lot of money to throw at a guy for one season. It's a lot. I know that I understand the risk that they're taking, the risk/reward that they're looking at, but I mean, that just, if I was a member of Ottawa's front office, that deal alone would give me so much anxiety.
Yeah, and like you said, I think for people that don't necessarily know um, the type of player that they're getting in Sanderson, um, I think we're looking at we're looking at a number one defenseman
Yes. Yeah.
in Ottawa. I have absolutely no issue saying that. We are looking at the number one defenseman for the Ottawa Senators. I have no problem saying that. And I think this deal, in the long run, it's gonna be looked at as a fucking steal.
Yeah.
And you know what? Yeah, this deal looks like a lot, especially with him having so minimal experience.
Right.
I think when it's all said and done, dude. I think we're looking at this deal as a fucking steal. And I think he's going to be looked at as the number one defenseman for this organization, for the Senators. And like, again, I don't think he's necessarily put up the stats yet.
Yeah.
But dude, we're looking at, he's going to play the top power play. He's going to play the top penalty kill. He's going to be on the top pair. He is what you think of as a perennial top pair defenseman. And I think he's going to be that consistently for the next 10 to 15 years. I see that with Jake Sanderson.
And dude, you got to think too, could he be paired up with Chychrun all next year? I mean, Sanderson and Chychrun as a top line pairing, that's a pretty good number one D unit.
He could, but I could also see him, if this is what Ottawa decides to do, I could also see him anchoring his own pair.
Yeah, almost like Lindholm.
Yeah, exactly. If they decide to pair him with a, not that, if they decide to kind of, if they wanted to put Chychrun on another pair and, put Sanderson and kind of balance out those players, I could see them doing that. With that being said, I definitely, if that is what's going to happen, I see Sanderson being the top pair defenseman, the guy that goes against the top line night in, night out. He is that guy. He is that type of defenseman that players fear to play against. He has it all. He can. He's that guy. He was drafted so high in the draft, and it all checks out. Again, his entire game checks out. The way that he breaks the puck out, the way that he can he takes over games, and I think he's going to be that huge boost that the Ottawa Senators need when we're talking about a top pair defenseman. That's what they needed. That's what they drafted him for.
Yeah.
And honestly, dude, he is everything that they fucking wanted. He's a huge fucking pickup, and I expect him to have a absolutely fucking huge year for them.
I do too. I mean, Ottawa's building something similar to what Buffalo is. I think Buffalo is a little ahead of them, but they're another team that's on the up and up. And getting Sanderson inked up for 8 years, I mean, sets them up for the future, especially if he really does if that contract becomes undervalued, right? If that contract becomes a bargain and they have that much more money to spend to build around guys like Sanderson, then the gamble worked out for them, and it's smooth sailing in Ottawa. Makes it a little bit easier for the future. But I don't think it's going to happen where it blows up in their face, because Sanderson is that guy. And I mean, this was his first year in the league, and he put up, I think I said 38 points, 32 or 38 points. And as a defenseman, I mean, I think it was the right move. I like the risk that they're taking with it. And Sanderson's going to be there for a long time, solidifying that D unit. But we did have another extension to go through too. And this time we're going to jump over to the Philadelphia Flyers. Former first-round pick Morgan Frost signed a 2-year, $2.1 million AAV, so it comes to 4.2 million over 2 years. How do you feel about that one for Philly fans and for the Flyers as a whole? How do you like that deal? It's kind of a bridge deal, would you say?
Yeah, it's for sure a bridge deal. I think a guy like Morgan Frost, man, I just don't feel like he's necessarily gotten a chance to necessarily show what he can do.
Yeah.
I love Morgan Frost, the player. I think he has I still think he has so much fucking potential, dude. I mean, we're looking at his, since 2019, talking about his goal totals and games played. Games played, we're talking since 2019, 20 games played in 2019. 2020, we're talking 2. 2021, we're talking 55. And then 2022, we're talking 81 games played. That
46 points too.
For sure. Yeah. And then we're talking, goal total since 2019, 2, 0, 5, and 19. I love Morgan Frost, the player. Do I think he's necessarily had the chance to, solidify himself as like a top 6 forward in Philly, especially? I don't think so. Like, I just think, we look at these players oftentimes and we're so fast to call them bust. I think we're so fast to again, call them bust, like, oh, well, they haven't produced. And I'm so, I love to do research on these guys and actually look to see what they've done at a junior level, a college level, whatever. And I'm so interested by it. And I think sometimes you don't necessarily see these guys have the right fit. Do I think that Morgan Frost has necessarily had the right fit in Philly? I don't think so. I understand he just signed a deal for an extension in Philly. Yep. With that being said, I don't know. I'd like to see him grab a higher role for the Flyers. For a guy like Morgan Frost to be buried in the bottom 6, I don't necessarily see that as being the best role for him, for Morgan Frost, the player. I'm curious what you think.
I mean, I think the consistency is the biggest thing that he's struggled with so far. He hasn't been able to really hold down a spot in the lineup, and that might not really even be his fault. That might be coaching staff not giving him a chance, kind of similar to what Boston saw with Frederick until Montgomery came in and really gave him a chance. But you saw last year, I mean, 81 games, and even the year before that, like you said, 55 games. But that 81 game schedule, he played almost a full year, and you see him put up 46 points. As a bottom 6 guy, that's really good numbers. And I think it's a comfortability factor, knowing that he's going to be there, knowing that knowing his role on the team, I think, is something that he needs in order to continue to develop as a player and just gain that little bit of confidence to help him. Because look at the 2 years he had in Sioux in the OHL, the 2 years before he was drafted. 67 games, 112 points. 58 games, 109 points. This guy's a good player. He just needs talent around him to help him out a little bit, and the Philly doesn't really have that. And he also needs the confidence in maintaining a spot in the lineup and knowing where he stands every day when he goes to the rink. You know what I mean? Like, if you have a job and you go in every day and you don't know what you're doing, your mind is already not going to be focused. Your mind is going to be elsewhere, thinking like, okay, well, I'll plan for this if this is going to be my role today. If my role is going to be that, then I guess I'll switch over and do things this way. But if you know what you're walking into every day, you know the game plan, you know how to prepare, then you're going into that with a clear mindset and just focusing yourself on what to do to become better at that one thing and progress upwards. But when you're all over the place, you don't know, you're frazzled, you have no idea, where you stand, and it's going to be harder for you to be producing at a good clip. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, no, definitely for sure. So even so, like we're looking at players that aren't necessarily in the show right now.
Right.
Especially if we're looking at players for Philly, we're looking at players like Mitchkov. We're
Yep.
looking at Cutter Gauthier. Now, when we look at players like Morgan Frost, are we hoping that he puts up decent numbers to where that's potentially a trade piece to them? Or are we hoping that he's like a legitimate piece to to be a part of this rebuild? It's one of those things that I'm kind of curious about, especially with this 2-year deal. Now, like again, we're looking at this team like, what is this Philadelphia team trying to do? I think from what it looks like, they're hoping to give Morgan Frost legitimate ice time. And I'm again, I think he's a very good player. Like, I think he deserves very legitimate ice time. But with that being said, like, are they hoping that Morgan Frost is going to be a legitimate player in this lineup, or are they just trying to, give him more ice to where he's like more appetizing, I guess we'll say, to other NHL teams? I'm curious at your take at this deal.
Yeah, I think honestly, I mean Morgan Frost right now, he's 24 years old. Like you mentioned, the Flyers are expecting guys like Cutter Gauthier and Matvei Michkov to make the jump relatively soon, right? Michkov is kind of up in the air. We're not really 100% sure on when he'd be able to come back over to the NHL and get himself into the lineup. But Gauthier could play as early as next year. Having a guy like Morgan Frost on the team already, adding Cutter Gauthier into that lineup, they could bounce off each other and they could help each other too. I mean, what if you're the Flyers? You wouldn't want to have one of your young, I don't want to say stars because he's not a star. You wouldn't want to have one of your young hopeful studs leave the team as you're now getting these potential elite hockey players in your lineup. You don't want them to be coming into a shitstorm too. You want to have at least a guy like Morgan Frost already there, understanding the system and producing and being hungry for these guys to come in and help them out. You know what I mean? Because that would only make the team better, and it would only make Gauthier and Michkov better too. Not saying that Frost is going to play with those guys, but just being in the lineup with a guy like that is beneficial. I think their plan is to keep him. Could I see them trading him? Sure. But the Flyers are kind of up in the air right now. I mean, they're not going to be competing for anything this year. So it's really just a year of development. So I guess we'll see. But if I'm the Flyers front office, I envision keeping him in the lineup for when these other younger guys come in and play.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you, dude. And I think it's one of those crazy things that you see, and one of those like super interesting things you see, especially with being in the middle of a rebuild.
Right.
There's so many question marks. Yeah, we can play the games of, well, when's Michkov going to come over? When's Cutter Gauthier going to be ready? When there's so many question marks that we can play. And it's just, again, I think Morgan Frost right now, if we're looking at it, I think he's a solidified, if we had to be real, a third line player. If I think any team would be extremely lucky to have Morgan Frost as a third line player for their team. And potentially, I think at a lower end, a fourth line player.
Yeah.
But again, I think he's such a talented guy, and I think this is such a win for Philly. And yeah, I just think it's such a good deal for them.
Yeah, and I mean other guys for Philly too that are coming up. You can't forget about a guy like Oliver Bonk either. I mean, I think he's 18 or 19 right now playing defense for London, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean they got guys like that coming up in the system too. So it's not all dark for the Flyers, and Morgan Frost has to see that too. I know right now he's playing for Torts in Philly, and that can't be a ton of fun, but when you're mentioning trades for the Flyers, I mean, take a look at a guy like Kevin Hayes, right? Kevin Hayes could be a trade piece for a potential playoff team too to help them down the line. But Morgan Frost, if I'm a Flyer, if I'm the Flyers GM, Flyers front office, I would rather keep Frost in as long as he wants to be there.
Yeah, no, I definitely agree with you. I want not to like call you out. Kevin Hayes actually is with St. Louis now.
When did that happen? I miss that?
This offseason. Yeah, I mean, a lot of shit has happened this offseason. But yeah.
Oh wow, yeah, wow. Hey, hand up. That's an L for Sully.
Yeah,
can't spell Sully without L.
but yeah, no, I honestly, dude. Again, it's one of those things that, like, again, do they start making these fucking moves? Like, yeah, they start pumping out, Kevin Hayes, the Ivan Provorovs.
That's right.
Like, again, like, yeah, they're in full fucking rebuild mode. And honestly, did they get the fucking steal of the draft? I still think so.
Maybe.
I think you and I can probably agree. Matvey Michkov falling to 7, I believe it was.
Yep.
Are you fucking joking? Like, I think that's a huge fucking win for the Flyers.
Yeah, dude.
And, yeah, I think, like, again, I think with rebuilds, it comes, time, and it comes patience, and just, overall, just it's gonna take time.
With that, I mean, that's the big.
No, you go.
I was just gonna say that's the biggest thing with teams like, say, like the Sharks, the Flyers. I wouldn't say the Blue Jackets anymore, but over the past couple seasons, the Blue Jackets, the Blackhawks, Arizona. And when they're in these rebuilds, it's just patience. You just got to be patient. You got to trust that your front office is going to do the right things. They're going to draft correctly. They're going to trade correctly. It's not a video game. It doesn't happen overnight. There's always going to be a period of time, a period of suckiness for organizations before you get to be good again. It's just the way that it works. It's just the way that sports works. And when your team is going through that, does it suck? Yeah, it fucking blows. But if you're a real diehard and you really truly care about your team, then you're going to ride with your team, and you're just going to understand that you're going through the motions right now of a rebuild, and know that it's not going to be that way forever, unless you're the Arizona Coyotes.
No. So, without that shot that you just took, honestly, I wanted to talk to you about, honestly, dude, we've been getting a huge amount of, like, whether it's questions or just requests for college hockey, and I think it's something that you and I both have a vast knowledge of. I think it's something that we are both very passionate about. I think it's something that is so fucking interesting, dude. Especially with the growth of the game. Especially as far as college hockey goes. I would love to get your take, especially if it's just banter going back and forth, about your college hockey takes, dude. Because honestly, I'm getting names that are coming in, that are going to be playing this year, and I'm like, holy fuck, this guy's fucking playing he's playing in college hockey this year. Like, again, yeah. I'm so interested by, like, especially the game of college hockey this year, that I'm like, holy shit. This is going to be electric this year. I'm so curious what your thoughts about this year are going to be.
Well, dude, college hockey has never. I honestly, I don't think college hockey has ever been this good. Just league wide across across the United States, there's so many good teams. There's so many good players spread out across the country. I mean, obviously, the past couple of years, Michigan has been a wagon. BC and BU right down the street from us. They're going to be top 3 teams. They're going to be 1, 2, or 3, both of them. In the country. BU is so good, dude. Macklin Celebrini, if you don't know that name yet, get familiar with that name. BC, obviously, like we were saying, Cutter Gauthier with the Flyers is there. We just saw Devin Levi come out of Northeastern. Tage Thompson played at UConn. I mean, Arizona State just got a D1 hockey program. College hockey has never been this good, and it's something that I'm looking forward to watching whenever the Bruins aren't on, or I want to throw up split screen on my TV. Say there's a big college hockey game going on, I'm splitting my TV in half and I'm watching college hockey too. Yeah. It's going to be electric. And the fact that we're right down the street from the top 2 teams potentially in the country, I will be there. I will be there for multiple games this year for sure.
Yeah, dude. Especially with this week's guest, obviously super blessed to have, our buddy, a friend of the show, Ty Gallagher, who phenomenal fucking defenseman. Like, fucking look out for this guy.
Yeah.
Bruins draft pick, obviously. We're looking at a team like BU who has guys coming in. Yeah, you got Macklin Celebrini, but I'm looking at guys in the back end like a Tom Willander, who, I don't think a lot of guys are talking about. And I think he's going to be fucking asset to this team. Obviously, they're bringing guys back like Lane Hudson. And again, bringing back veterans like Ty Gallagher, who are going to be, pivotal to that leadership group in BU. It's going to be so fucking interesting to see this, to see this group in the Hockey East, dude. I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Like, again, dude, you and I being in, being in Mass, we're going to be able to flip on fucking ESPN or not ESPN, but NESN, and we're going to be able to watch a fucking top college game. I'm so amped for it.
Dude, yeah. But same though, because then you go across the city to BC. They're loaded too. You got Will Smith, you got Ryan Leonard, you got Cutter Gauthier, Bruins pick as well, Andre Gasseau, Gabe Perreault. Christ almighty, dude. You know what? BC might be better than BU, but they're both stacked. They're literally both stacked.
Yeah. Dude, I'm excited. I honestly, and I don't think there's anything better. And obviously, these kids play for, they work their fucking heinies off to, to get to the show. But I think, dude, with college hockey, is there anything better? I just, I love college football, and, we all fucking plan our asses on Saturdays, and, we watch college football. We watch the SEC. But I think for college hockey fans, dude, is there anything better than watching 2 fucking Hockey East teams or just,
the
2 big
Beanpot, baby.
I don't think there's anything better. 2 fucking perennial college hockey teams. I don't think there's anything better. I don't.
Yeah, I think two legendary schools too, and they're going to be at the top of the food chain this year.
Yeah, again, dude. I think, especially with college hockey, we love junior. I watch as much junior as I can, and obviously got a lot of buddies that play junior and whatever. But I think with college hockey, I think it's the most elite, hockey besides the NHL that we have right now. It's just, again, these kids, they're fucking hungry. They're the the most skilled players that I've seen, dude, and such entertaining fucking puck to watch, dude.
Yeah.
And I saw that especially last season with the the Frozen Fenway game that I got to watch live. These kids fucking want it, and I love that shit. It's such phenomenal hockey, and I'm definitely excited to fucking watch these kids, especially this year. We got a couple buddies, from the show that definitely excited to watch, and definitely, dude. I'm so amped for this year, man. I'm ready for some fucking hockey this year.
Yeah, dude, I am too. Yeah. So if you haven't really had a year where you got into college hockey, I would say check in this year because it's going to be one of the best years of NCAA hockey of all time. But I mean, with covering the PTOs, covering the extensions, you want to send it over to Ty?
Yeah, I got a couple things I want to, definitely cover. We're covering this, Thursday. Huge news, especially from the PWHL.
Oh yeah, yep.
PWHL. We're bringing in fucking Hillary Knight.
Dude, they're gonna be a dynasty.
We're gonna be a goddamn wagon. So
yep.
Huge news. I mean, Hillary Knight is an absolute wagon, dude. Unbelievable talent. This is huge news for the game of hockey. Not even the game of hockey, just the game of hockey in Boston and Massachusetts. I mean, she's unbelievably talented. Not only on the ice, but off the ice as well. She's such a pioneer for the game of hockey. Especially for young girls, not only for young girls, but just young hockey players as a whole. I think this is huge, and we're so grateful to have a player like Hillary Knight, signing to the PWHL, Boston. This is huge, dude.
It is huge.
This as soon as I saw the news. It's huge. I love it. I always want the game of hockey to grow. I'm all for it. I love it. What Hillary has done for the game of hockey, not only for young girls, just as a whole, has been huge. So I'm super excited about it. Congratulations, Hillary Knight. We're happy to have you, obviously, in the city of Boston. We're so excited. Mikey, let's
and that's another organization. I want to go check out some of those games too. I mean, I know they're playing. I'm 99% sure they're playing at the Warrior Ice Arena. And I mean, if you guys haven't been down there and seen that facility yet, definitely go down there and check it out. And there's no better time to go check it out. Go catch one of these games. Go see one of the best women hockey players to ever do it. Lace up for the city of Boston and play for the city. I'll be down there for a couple games for sure this year. That's going to be a ton of fun. Obviously, it's a new original six, so being there at the base and the foundation and getting to start with Hillary Knight, come on, I'm amped up for it, dude. I'm honestly pumped up, and I want to go down there and I want to experience those games, and I want to see what the atmosphere is like. I want to see what their jerseys are going to look like. I want to see what they look like as a team. So yeah, dude, I'm pumped up. I am pumped up.
Yeah, dude. Honestly, I was seeing all the the acquisitions as far as like Sarah Nurse goes, just the different acquisitions that goes into the different PWHL teams. I was so interested, dude. I was like, where are these women signing?
Yeah,
I'm
dude.
so interested to know, like, where is Poland signing? Where is Sarah Nurse signing? I was like so fired up, dude. I was like, where? And honestly, I last night I go, where is Hillary Knight gonna sign? Is she gonna come to Boston?
Yeah, literally. There was a buzz around it, dude.
I was like, this is, and honestly, when I woke up, earlier this morning, I was like, this is huge for the game of hockey, especially in Massachusetts. Like again, I don't think people realize this is phenomenal hockey, dude. These women,
they fly, dude.
We're not only talking, the PWHL. I'm talking college hockey. We're talking, the minor like these women can play, and it's such good hockey. They think just as well as the men. They fly on the ice. It's phenomenal hockey. So if you ever get the chance to watch the the PWHL Division One women's hockey, division whatever it may be, these women, they're phenomenal on the ice. They think the game better than any men that I know, especially fucking beer league. Like Jesus Christ, like they're fucking 20 steps ahead of me. Like it's phenomenal hockey. And when I saw that Hillary Knight signed with with Boston, I was amped up as a Bruins fan, and as a hockey fan as a whole. This is huge, not only for Boston but for hockey as a whole. I think it's huge. Like this is it's so entertaining. It's such good hockey. I'm super excited. I've been following literally, since the beginning of the week. Seeing where these women are going. Sarah Nurse, Poole. Just to name a few. I apologize. I apologize if I forgot anyone, but so entertaining. I'm so excited. Obviously, we got a lot going on. A lot of hockey to look forward to. But I want to end the show talking about my buddy Matt McRae, who obviously he's still fighting for his life. He's still one of the toughest motherfuckers I know. And the support that he's gotten, the support that we've all gotten is insane. It's just honestly, it's one of those things I wasn't really prepared to like talk, say it on air or anything, but the amount of support that he's gotten has been just insane. I want to thank obviously everyone involved in the Bruins Foundation. Everyone who's been involved with, obviously, who's contributed through Drop the Mitts, Primetime Productions. This kid's a fucking fighter, man, and he's one of the most stubborn motherfuckers I know, and he doesn't give up, just like none of us give up here at Primetime, and I can't thank you guys enough for all the support. And I know obviously the McRae family is super grateful. We've got a lot of things lined up here in the future, within the next month, the next couple months, and obviously through the hockey season. We're really excited to, we'll get a lot of things lined up. So I can't thank you guys enough for all your support. And it's been super emotional. So before I fucking start crying my eyes out, thank you guys so much. And Mikey, I'll bring it over to you, buddy.
Yeah, man, it's been awesome to see obviously all the support, and it's awesome to hear that he's he's doing better, right? He's doing a little bit better than before. Kid is a fighter, and it's amazing to see. But yeah, man, should we send it over to?
Yeah, let's. We are. We're super privileged to. We get the chance to sit down with perennial Boston University defenseman Ty Gallagher, 7th round pick of the Bruins, 2021. Yeah, unbelievable kid. Just such a goof. Like just an unbelievable kid. The what it means to be a professional, what it means to be a top defenseman. And I wish him nothing but the best for this upcoming season. Unbelievable leader for the Boston University Terriers. We bring you Ty Gallagher, Boston University Terriers defenseman. Thank you, guys.
Let's go. Let's go.
Let's go. Welcome back to Drop the Mitts Hockey Podcast, brought to you in partnership with Primetime Productions. I am Chris Davis with Ty Gallagher, BU defenseman and Boston Bruins draft pick and prospect. Ty, how you doing, buddy? How's your summer going?
Good. How are you? It's definitely been good. So. What's that? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. No. How's your summer been going, man?
It's definitely been good. No, it's been a fun summer. I spent most of the time in Boston, and I'm back in Michigan right now. I've been back for about 2 weeks now, so it's been a good break and ready to get back on Friday.
There you go. What kind of things you doing this summer? Just kind of training, getting on the ice, or are you playing any golf?
Definitely training and getting on the ice, but yeah, I'm playing a lot of golf. So I actually just got off the course a little bit ago. So
how'd you shoot?
Not great, but not bad. Not bad.
There you go. Keep morale high, man.
Exactly.
So yeah, I wanted to kind of dive into talking about your early days. When you first started playing hockey, then youth and all that. So being a Michigan kid, growing up playing, all through, what was it that drew you to BU to start playing there? What about the city? Was it like anything specific that drew you to Boston? And also, were there any other schools that were kind of in the mix at the time?
Yeah, I mean, to start with Boston, I mean, the city's amazing. There's so much stuff to do. There's never a dull moment. And then with BU, I mean, just the tradition of BU hockey. When you hear the name Boston University, all you think of is winning in a great hockey program. And then also the coaching staff. With Coach Pandolfo, Coach Kim, Coach Joe. I mean, all those guys are awesome. They've helped me get to where I am, and they've given me the best opportunity I think I've ever had. So, them pushing me and expecting excellence and just expecting excellence from a team really just draws everyone to Boston University just because of the tradition of winning. Being from Michigan, I'm from a small town, Clarkson, Michigan. And, just expanding, getting into a big city was definitely like a priority of mine, and definitely landing in Boston was the best possible situation just because, there's just so much to experience there. So, and also with the Beanpot, I know that's a huge tradition in Boston. I've experienced it for the past 2 years. And in Michigan, we have something called the GLI, the Great Lakes Invitational. So growing up, going to that, it's awesome to see those Michigan State rivalries, and now just being a part of, the BU BC or the BU Northeastern rivalries is awesome.
Yeah, that was one of my questions later on, but we'll get to it now, man. What is it like playing in the Beanpot? Because we've had a couple, BC guys on the show, and they said it's unlike anything they've ever played in. Where does it rank as far as tournaments that you've played in? And just talk to us about that experience, like leading up to it, and then at the actual games. What is it like?
Yeah, I mean, it's definitely, other than I think the Frozen Four is definitely the best tournament, the most exciting tournament I've ever played in. I mean, just coming to BU, kind of new to me. Coming from Michigan, the whole culture is new to me, and like all you hear about is the Beanpot. Like the first thing you walk on campus is like, you're like, all right, we got to win the Beanpot this year. It's like, wait, what? Like I haven't even seen where my classes are yet.
Yeah.
And it's really fun. Just like the lead up and the anticipation, right? Like our first year we went in knowing we were playing Harvard, and knowing it's going to be a good game, and every game's a good game. Right. So, just walking into the garden and then walking out onto the ice in front of all the students. I mean, in the finals against Northeastern my first year, you look up in the crowd and you're like, oh, this is sweet. Like you look up at our student section is taking like 3 sections of the upper bowl. And then you keep looking and then you look halfway around the stadium and it's all Northeastern fans. And you're just like, wow, this could be fun. Right. Yeah. And then, like, we ended up winning it our freshman year, and just the celebration, you could tell like, the seniors and the captains, Logan Cockrell, who had been there, just like, I think that was his first Beanpot of him being at BU, and just like the celebration and just the joy in those guys' face. Like you just know how much of a tradition it is to the guys at BU and then just BU as a whole. So it's fun to be a part of that tournament.
Yeah, how was that celebration, man? How fucking crazy was that? I bet.
Oh man. I mean, like it was just like the build up, and then like the final buzzer goes off and you win 1-0 in the last 2 minutes of the game. It's just like, oh my gosh, like you're going nuts, right? You're jumping all over guys, and it's just the best feeling ever. So
yeah, the like the first game isn't, it's all the people that are coming from work and getting off early, but it's that second game where it fucking packs up. I remember last year we went, first game wasn't necessarily like, I mean, it was still a pretty good crowd for sure, but I think that second game, I think it was the first day, it was freaking booming in there. It was loud as hell, man. Like, again, people in Boston get up for this tournament. Like, it means a lot to a lot of people. I think the people that aren't necessarily from Boston, like, don't really understand, like, how big of a tournament this is.
Yeah, definitely. I think, like, even from experience, like, people, like, that I've met on campus, they're like, oh, yeah, I'm going to the Beanpot. It's like, oh, like, sweet, right? Like, we'll see you there. And they come back and you see them in class the next day and they're like, oh, my God, that's the craziest thing I've ever seen, because they've never experienced it before. Yeah. So it's just pretty fun. So
where does it rank in, like, your all-time, like, tournaments that you've played in?
Ooh, I mean, my top tournaments has to be Frozen 4, then Beanpot, and then I don't know. I played in a couple national championship tournaments growing up, and I played in U18 Worlds with the US team. That's up there for sure. I think, like, even to throw it back even further, my team actually was fortunate enough to win the Quebec Pee Wee tournament. So that was also a pretty fun tournament. So
brag,
oh yeah, but no, it's up there. It's definitely number 2 or top 3. Like it's just such a special tradition.
Yeah, man, it's so fun to watch you guys. Honestly, like the talent level in the Hockey East is unbelievable. It's some of the best hockey around. Yeah, growing up, did you have a favorite player? I mean, obviously you probably had a favorite player, but was there a player growing up that you really tried to, like, emulate your game after?
I mean, growing up in Michigan as a defenseman, everyone watched Nick Lindstrom, and I think definitely a guy that I looked up to, and I mean, you can say like, I want to play like him, but it doesn't. Once you get more serious, you obviously pick new guys, but just like the person that he was, around the community, and then just, I mean, his game on the ice speaks for itself, but I think just the way that he carried himself all the time, and then also just his play on the ice is definitely something that every defenseman in Michigan looks up to.
Yeah, for sure, man. And obviously, I mean, you being like a smaller defenseman, puck moving defenseman. Are there any guys in the league today that you kind of look at and kind of see similarities?
Yeah, I think one guy that since my game's progresses, that people have compared me to, is a guy like Connor Clifton. Just like 6 foot, competitive two-way defenseman who can move pucks and also create offense, but a guy who's really going to compete for everything that he wants. So I think that's definitely a guy that I try and emulate my game after, and try to watch and see what his tendencies are, just to add him into my game and overall progress my game.
Yeah, you mentioned, your first couple of years at BU. You've had 2 incredibly solid years. Are there any aspects of your game that you've been, like, working to most improve? And then what would you say that, like, your biggest strengths are in your game?
Yeah, I think definitely something that everyone tries to improve, and I know it's cliche, but And I think I said it at development camp too, but it's just getting bigger, faster, stronger. I mean, with every level and with every step that you take, more responsibilities come. And just getting bigger, faster, stronger, so you're ready to take on those responsibilities is definitely the most important part of the summer and the off season, in the gym, on the ice, and just working on blue line stuff, game like situations is definitely something that I focus on in the summer too. And just making sure that when I step into camp, when I step into practice for BU, like you're ready for every situation and you've seen things over and over again. And then just some strengths. I think my biggest thing is just my two-way ability. Being able to lock it down to the defensive zone and have that competitive mindset. While also being able to add offense and make a great first pass. I think that's one thing that I take pride in my game is being able to break out pretty much any puck that's put in front of me and make the good first pass. So those are definitely things I focus on every night.
So you got the opportunity to play with Lane Hudson, who obviously, for anyone that follows college hockey, he had an unbelievable freshman year.
Yeah.
What was it like playing with a guy like Lane, and what kind of guy is he like in the locker room for people that just see the game on the ice, and what kind of person is Lane off the ice?
Yeah, I think you just give the puck to him and let him skate, to be honest. Yeah. No, Lane's an unbelievable player, and guys who have watched our team and guys who have watched, him in the past would say the same. And obviously, him going high in the draft and, having a great freshman year, which he deserved. But what I think makes him more deserving is like you said, the guy that he is in the locker. I mean, all the guys love him. He's energetic. Like he's nice to everyone, treats people like he wants to be treated. And I think that's definitely like a huge importance to me, at least, like just being around guys who are not only good at hockey, but are also good people. And he's definitely a guy who shows those aspects, and it's really impressive. And it was so fun playing with him, just watching the skill that he has and just his ability to pretty much do anything at any time and wow everyone in the stadium, even the guys on his own team. But yeah, it's really fun to play with him, and it's looking forward to it again next year. So
yeah, you bring up the fact that he's like an overall good human being, and it kind of seems like that's like the kind of the culture that Coach Pandolfo wanted to build in that BU locker room, because you got yourself as unbelievable human being. You mentioned Lane. Talk to us about the chemistry in that locker room, and obviously you guys made it pretty far last year, really far. Yeah. Talk to us about what the chemistry that Coach Pandolfo's built, the chemistry between you and all your teammates.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a huge focus for the coaching staff with us, and also our captains, my past 2 years, and now going into my third year with Case McCarthy. I mean, all those guys all they do is push culture, and I think that's definitely what helps us get to where we go. And I mean, this is like the past 2 years, like is been the closest two teams have ever been on, and it goes a long way. I mean, obviously making it to the Frozen Four, but we're going to compete. Everyone's going to compete, and it gets competitive in practice, on the ice, but off the ice, we're going to each other's rooms, we're hanging out, we're playing video games, we're playing cards, like just hanging out, and everyone loves everyone, and it's a fun team to be around. There's not a single guy that you're like, oh, like I don't want to be around him today, or anything. Like everyone is, you walk in the locker room, it's like, hey, what's up, man? Like how's it going? Like whatever, and then you're with each other every day. So it's definitely no one that you get sick of. Our culture is unbelievable, and it's something that's stressed and pushed on us, and it's something that we take pride in.
Yeah, you mentioned you guys made it as far as the Frozen Four, and you don't get that far unless you have every single player, every single coach buy in. So I mean, that's definitely a huge factor, and pretty much everyone we talk to kind of says the same thing. You got to have everyone buying into the to the culture, and have that chemistry with each other.
Yeah, definitely.
So I want to go back to Lane. Obviously, his brother Quinn is on the team too. Any sibling rivalries ever? I mean, do they get along pretty well? Any good stories about those two?
Oh man, I mean, they're the Hudsons are awesome. I mean, they're fun to be around, and in practice, like they'll go back and forth. I mean, everyone's seen Quinn has probably one of the best shots in college hockey, and that kid can he can shoot the puck like no one I've ever seen. And I mean, just like little things back and forth, whether like Lane scores on Quinn in like a small area game, or there's a little competition drill or something. Just them going back and forth. But I don't know. I guess like going to classes and stuff, like it's also funny to watch them go back and forth and just the banter of who's the smarter Hudson and stuff like that. But no, they're awesome. They're funny. They're funny to be around, and it's just an overall good time.
Yeah, man. It just triggered in my mind. You mentioned that the shot that Quinn has. I remember my old man and we went to the game in Manchester when you guys were playing, and I remember he let one rip from like the top of the circle, and I was like, holy shit! It didn't even look like he had put any effort into it. It was fucking crazy. But yeah, you mentioned those two. I was curious if they're ever chirping each other all the time, or they get a relationship. So
every once in a while, I think Quinn throws the most chirps. I think he likes to joke around with guys, which is hilarious, and I think he loves to throw little chirps in at Lane. It's pretty funny.
Yeah. So this upcoming season, you've brought in the team has brought in a couple big transfers, and also bringing in a freshman, Macklin Celebrini, who he's being pretty highly touted. Have you had the opportunity to talk to any of those Jack Hughes, coming from Northeastern, or Celebrini? Have you gotten the chance to talk to any of those guys? And what are your expectations for the team as a whole with those guys coming in this year?
Yeah, I mean, so at BU we have to do summer session, the second summer session. So, everyone's on campus and living on campus, taking a class, and then working out and skating together, on our own. But yeah, I mean, all those guys are awesome. Like I met Macklin Celebrini. He was up there for a couple weeks. And he's awesome. He's a great guy. He was out on the ice. I mean, you can just see the skill, right? Even from a summer skate where, you're just stick handling and it's a lot of skill work. You can see the skill and his ability to play the game and see the game, just by that. So, I think definitely the expectations are high, as they always are. And, but I think like the most important thing is our mindset never changes, right? We all have a goal, and those guys are going to come in and buy into that goal. We have full trust in that with them. And it's gonna be a fun year. We're gonna be really good. We're gonna be, a team that teams have marked on their schedule, and those guys are gonna add to it. We got a lot of great talent coming in, a lot of great talent returning. So, we're gonna be super deep, and it's gonna be competitive, but it's gonna be fun.
Yeah, you mentioned this is gonna be your third year. So with the older guys at this point, with a defenseman like Tom Willander, who got drafted high in this year's draft. What do you try to do to try to mentor a young guy like that? Obviously, you've had great success in the NCAA. You've had really good success at the highest level, and so what kind of things do you try to teach the younger kids about the game, and then just being a Division I athlete?
Yeah, I think the most important part, and what my mentors when I came in, for my past 2 years being an underclassman, I think the most important thing is just like let them do that, play their game, let them be themselves, and everyone's going to make mistakes, even first round draft picks and even top 10 picks. Like we have a lot of expectations for those guys, but at the same time we got to let them do their thing. And I think just here and there, I think obviously with experience, I think I could definitely add in some things and tell them, say, hey, on this one, this move will work, or on this one, look for this option. The guy will be gone for a breakaway, little things like that. But, these guys all have skill and they have a ton of talent. So the most important thing is just let them play, and good things are going to come from that. I know, playing with Dom Fensori for the past 2 years, he was great with that. You know, I made mistakes. I made plenty of mistakes, but he was the first guy, right? When we get back to the bench, like, all right, Gallagher, like next play here, like next play, like keep doing you, right? Like it's really impressive. And I think that's also led to a lot of my success. It's just the people that I've been around. So I think just letting them do their own thing and letting them play their game, obviously, because their game got them to where they are. So, you know, just letting their skill take over and just adding in some little pointers here and there, but yeah, overall, just, you know, letting them do their thing.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. Yeah, you know, you mentioned, you know, Dom Fensori, so it's awesome that you kind of take what you learned and now you're kind of showing the younger guys, and that's how you build that winning culture and you continue that winning culture. You know, even after you guys leave. So no, that's awesome. I mean, that's definitely good leadership right there for sure. So 2021, man, the draft rolls around.
Yeah.
And you hear your name called, 7th round, Boston Bruins. Talk us through that day. What was that experience like? What was the pre-draft process like? And I always ask, you know, were there any other teams that you thought you might have been going to, and were there any like bizarre draft questions that you got asked?
Yeah, I mean, like, I think like what's so cool about the draft is like, I mean, obviously you have interviews and pre-draft interviews and all that, like questionnaires and stuff like that. But you know, the best part is like you have no idea where you could go, right? Like any team could pick you at any time. But you know, just seeing my name pop up next to the Bruins logo, it's just like a dream come true, right? It's an original 6 team, and just the overall culture is, you know, competitive, hard nosed, like detailed culture and a winning culture. So just seeing your name pop up next to that logo, it's just a dream come true, you know, for someone who's grown up, you know, watching the original 6 teams and obviously the Red Wings being original 6 team, like the rivalries and stuff like that. And just overall, like the players who have gone through the Bruins program and who are at the Bruins program, right? Like, it was just a special feeling. I had my family and friends all around me, and it's definitely a big celebration. It was fun. My dad like came in with the phone behind me, and I had no idea, but somehow he knew. I don't know how. I think he might have just been getting ready for it, but yeah, he came in with the phone and it popped up, and you could see me jump up, and all my friends and family jump up, but it was definitely fun. Like just the overall process was super stressful, but it was fun. It was fun. All the my interviews were actually, they were pretty good. But yeah, it was a stressful process for sure.
Were there any bizarre questions that you got asked? I've heard some insane, like whether on other podcasts or whatever, like GMs just friggin' like wilding out asking the weirdest questions. It's like, did you have that experience? Or
I didn't have any experiences like that, to be honest. All my interviews are actually pretty mellow and like just like, you know, asking about school and asking about hockey and just like your process and what you think and stuff like that. But I know guys that I played with had like the different questionnaires are pretty funny to see. Like, you know, they're like IQ questionnaires and stuff. And like, it's like, you're like, what kind of question is this? Like, I know they all have a purpose and they all lead to something, but it's just funny to see like the paper in front of you. And it's like, it's almost like that scene from Miracle, right? When,
Jimmy Craig.
yeah, when Jimmy Craig's like, yeah, I'm not taking this test or whatever. It's like, what is this? Right. But it's fun, and it's a fun process, and just, you know, talking with your teammates and the people who are going through it with you is definitely fun too.
Yeah, so. You want me to take your test? I'll take your test.
Yeah. Exactly.
We're all just crushing beers trying to figure out this test. But so, you know, you went in the 7th round, which obviously, you know, dream come true for you. You mentioned, I mean, anytime, any pick, you know, obviously it's a huge accomplishment. Does you going in the 7th round, does that add any like motivation to you personally? And does that kind of put a chip on your shoulder that, hey, maybe, you know, I know I'm more talented. I should have gone earlier. Like I said, is that just something with you personally that you kind of have a chip on your shoulder?
Yeah, I mean, definitely. I think, you know, even before the draft, like I've always played with that little chip on my shoulder, right? Like just trying to prove that I deserve to be where I'm at. And I mean, going in the 7th round, like I said, is a dream come true. Like anywhere in the draft, like I just wanted to hear my name called, right? And
Absolutely.
I honestly believe that I'm in the best spot that I can be. You know, playing for BU in Boston, being drafted by the Bruins is definitely something that is not many people can say and not many people have. And especially being surrounded by so many Bruins staff and ex-Bruins staff and stuff like that is definitely puts me in a good position. But yeah, no, it's just it's exciting and it's been fun. So
Yeah, so obviously the Bruins have a couple of former BU guys, Charlie McAvoy, Matty Grizzlick. What kind of have they been good mentors to you? Like, what do they mean to you? Obviously they've had great success at the highest level. Are those couple guys that you look up to? Do you have contact with those guys? Have they given you
definitely.
any tips on or whatever on what it takes to be successful?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, so they work out at BU over the summer. So they're in and out of the gym and we see them and they're super friendly, right? Like they're always talking to the guys, hanging out with their strength coach Ken and stuff. They're always in the gym, grab massages and stuff like that from the people at BU. But no, it's been great having them around. And it's also like it's awesome to see them work out because it shows what it takes to jump to that next level and also become a Bruin, right? Like those guys for the hour and a half, 2 hours, however long they're in the gym, like it's go time and it's no distractions, nothing else going on except for what's ahead of them. And it's really impressive to watch them and just look up and also realize that like that's your next step. That's the next step that you have to take, and that's what's coming. And it's super exciting too to see them in there. But no, they're both great guys, and I've talked to them a lot this summer, especially this summer. I've gotten to know them pretty well, and yeah, they're just fun to be around, and they're just like one of the guys too at the end of the day. But yeah, just like seeing the work that it takes to jump to that next level and be superstars that they are, is definitely fun to watch.
Yeah, this summer you got to participate in the Bruins development camp, and I had the pleasure of meeting you there,
Yeah.
and talking to you a little bit about the week. Um, what were some of your takeaways from that week? And were there any things that you were really trying to focus on going in there? Like things that you were trying to work on improving? And then to my first question, what were your biggest takeaways from that week?
Yeah, I think proving that I'm supposed to be in the position that I'm in and I'm supposed to be on that ice with those guys. And then also just, getting the first taste. I mean, obviously that was my third development camp, but getting that taste of what being a Bruin is and what being a professional hockey player is, because it's not easy. And I think a lot of guys think that it's just going to be like, oh yeah, I'm just going to jump right in, but that's not the case at all. And especially with the Bruins, right? It's not only a mindset and a talent level, it's also a culture level, a character level. It's just a complete change of lifestyle in the best way possible, right? And you see them around the community, and just the people that the Bruins produce and that the Bruins are is super special. So being at Dev Camp with all those guys and all the prospects and all the invites and everyone there that's involved in those camps is super fun, and it's great to get to know those guys and just surround yourself with people that are in that culture and have taken that culture in, and yeah, it's really fun.
Yeah, man, you had a really strong camp. Like I said, you mentioned earlier some of your strengths. Something I definitely noticed was your two-way game, especially during the scrimmage. I mean, you were able to make plays both ends. Making stops on defense and then producing offensively. So yeah, that was really cool to see. And then yeah, man, honestly, it's been such a pleasure talking to you, and I can't thank you enough for taking time out of your out of your summer and out of your day to come join us.
Absolutely. Thank you for having me. This is awesome. Hopefully see you soon.
Yeah, for sure, man. Best of luck this year. I know you guys will, you'll kill it this year, and hopefully you guys are right back at the Frozen Four.
Thank you. I hope so too.
All right, man. Take
All
care.
right. See you soon.
Bye.
Bye.